An alarm has been raised over concerns on the condition of several of Durban beaches which fall under the eThekwini Metro. Recent tests show that beach water has critically high levels of E. coli, a bacterium found in the intestine, meaning that water is contaminated with human waste. Communities are also up in arms following videos shared on social media showing filth in the city's swimming pool, as well as complaints of raw sewage. The problem has been persistent, with data from the Department of Water and Sanitation's 2022 drop report revealing that many municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal regularly fail to comply with minimum wastewater treatment standards. And while the eThekwini municipality has generally acceptable wastewater systems, it has been on the decline, dropping from a score of 90 in 2013 to 76 in 2021. Dr. Musa Gumede is the Deputy City Manager responsible for community and emergency services at the eThekwini municipality, and he joins us this morning. Dr. Gumede, thank you very, very much. Thanks for joining us here on the program.
Good morning, Leanne.
Up front, let's just talk about the beaches that are the affected beaches. We ran the story, obviously. We saw the Premier, he was out and about, the Mayor, I beg your pardon, it was the Mayor, Mxolisi Kaunda. He was swimming in the beaches and showing that everybody, is fine to go into the beaches. That was earlier this month. What is the status? Are those beaches still open?
Leanne, we committed to the public that by the 1st of December, most of our beaches would be open. We've tried our best to keep that promise. Obviously, there are elements which affect how beaches behave. We have 44 beach areas in eThekwini, and 6 of those are not open yet because of the levels that are still high. Otherwise, the rest of the beaches will have normal results. There may be 1 or 2 which we have not opened but have normal results because we look over a period of 3 tests and then we open. We look for a trend over 3 tests and then we open the beaches. When we were at Umhlanga, we had confidence that we had over 3 results that had been positive in terms of allowing us to actually open those beaches. Obviously, there are elements which then affected the water from the 1st of December until I think about the 4th of December. Those results then went backwards. I can confirm now that in terms of the results I have in front of me from the 8th of December and from the 9th of December, all the beaches at Umhlanga, from Umhlanga main beach, the latest results of the 9th of December shows less than 100 E. coli level. Umhlanga bronze also below 500. Umhlanga gravy pool also below 50. Umhlanga lighthouse also below 50. Those 4 are within normal. Although we are still monitoring them because we've tested twice, we need 1 more test just to ensure that there's a trend of over 3. Then we can say to the public, you're free to use the beaches again. The challenges we've had around Isipingo, where in a beach called Reunion Beach around Isipingo, where we have challenges of wastewater network still being under repairs. The other challenge we have is in the area of Virginia, where we have a river, Umgeni River, around Umgeni River up to Virginia, where we have also a wastewater, not then wastewater being repaired in that area. Once those 2 are repaired, all the beaches in eThekwini will then open. Otherwise, the rest of the beaches in eThekwini are within normal.
So, my simple question, I suppose, to you is, these beaches are open. So they're open for business. People want to go. The beaches of concern, the areas that, the one you were swimming there as well on the 1st of December, that beach, Umhlanga, all of the beaches, Durban, they are open and people can go and swim in them.
Well, the Umhlanga specific ones have got normal results. That's the ones where I was reading the results for you. We've tested twice when we've had 2 normal results. We need to test 3 times. And if all 3 are normal, people can go in. So we test twice a week. We tested, today is a Tuesday. We are going to test today. which means if the results of today are still within normal, then the beach will be open.
Okay, so as it
because-
stands now, it's closed. So the beach is closed now. But if the results come through, they will be reopened if you're happy with the results.
Yes.
Okay. Is it not dangerous? I mean, if you think about it, you swam on the 1st of December, and then a few days later the beaches were closed again because, as you yourself said, things went backwards and the levels weren't happy again. So you're going to get all these beachgoers down there, and I mean, this is obviously their choice to go down, but this on the word that you're saying everything's fine, they get there, the beaches are closed again, or they do go into the sea and they get sick. I mean, is this not a worry or a concern of yours, especially the numbers that usually do go down and revel on these beaches?
Yeah, we do care about that. In fact, this is something that happens even if you don't have challenges we've had. We've had floods, we've had broken infrastructure, which has caused this. But even when we don't have such problems everywhere in the world, when conditions change, like the last 2 days, we've had severe rains. So what that does is that it takes debris from the rivers down to the sea, and it can change within a day the status of beaches. So you have to take consideration of all those factors. If there is a sun, you need to take consideration of that. The levels drop because of the E. coli and the sun having impact on E. coli. It then drops the levels. If you've got wind and the direction of wind from one area to the other, it also changes conditions. So there are many conditions which affect beaches, even when you've not had a storm damage as we've had. So you can't rely on 2 or 3 days results. You've got to take results quite consistently, whether you've had infrastructure damage or not, to make sure that the state of beaches are always in an acceptable level for people.
Yeah, and this is the reality, is that if you do get people going down, you tell them that it's fine, they swim, 2 days later you say it's not fine, and then, I mean, the reality is that you're playing with people's health here, and I don't think that the health system in eThekwini can handle it. Perhaps you know better than I do, because, I mean, these are very serious health implications that if you are swimming in that water, particularly children, elderly, people with comorbidities, you know, people going into that water, and when E. coli levels are high, the health consequences are massive. So even by risking it for a day or two to get all these people in, and I understand to a certain extent it is financial because you need the business, you want people to go, this is the busiest time, but is this to the detriment of people's health? I mean, if you're already seeing that, you know, one day it's fine, the next day it's bad, and in that day people get exceptionally sick, including bleeding out of their stomachs. I mean, these are the consequences of it. Why even risk it? Why risk people's lives?
I think the fact of the matter is that it's not one day it's fine, the next it's not. That has been maybe 1 or 2 beaches where it's been like that. The trend is that from the 1st of November, most of the beaches in Durban have been green, meaning they've been fine. The central beaches have all been fine since the 1st of November. All the the south beaches have also been fine since the 1st of November. So there's been no closing and opening in those areas. There's been 1 or 2 beaches where that trend has happened. And even the levels, although high, were not high to the extent that they would cause damage to health. So we precautionarily decided to close so that we make sure there's no problem. But we've not prioritized finance or economy over the health of the residents. We've made sure that when we close, even when it was, we could have said, let's maybe retest. We've closed and said we'll retest and open, which has been more risky than just continuing and retesting without closing. Yeah. So we've been quite considerate of the health of people, and we've been open to say we'll close and retest. We won't leave it open and retest and say, no, it was just an odd result. So we've taken precautions. So I'm adamant that we've not really prioritized the economy over the health of people.
Yeah, one hopes so, and one hopes that this doesn't come back to bite the city if people do come down in their numbers. And we know it's a very popular holiday destination. But Dr. Gumede, answer me this. I mean, it is said that more than 700 million litres of untreated sewage gets discharged into eThekwini's rivers, dams and oceans every single day. Help me understand this. Is this figure correct that I'm telling you? And Why is this problem not solved? I mean, the numbers of the levels in the Umgeni River that I'm reading in terms of contamination are devastating. I mean, these are numbers that I will find them, but you can even talk to us. I mean, the Umgeni River, it's totally infested with human feces. 700 million? Please clarify this for us.
Yeah, what we had a meeting this weekend together with the people from water and sanitation to discuss what they are doing. The progress is quite impressive considering the challenge that they were facing. We are able to open most of these beaches because they have been able to replace the pump stations that were damaged. Some of the damage is quite severe and requires a lot of money in order to repair both the wastewater mains, the pump stations, and the reticulation infrastructure. So that is why it looks like it's slow. It's quite a severe damage from Umlazi to the mega city area where the whole pipe was washed away. So they've got to replace all that infrastructure, the pump stations that they feed into until it reaches the sea, the wastewater treatment works and then to the sea. So it's the magnitude of the damage that is causing the slowness of response. It's not because there is no response, but the area is vast, the terrain is difficult, and therefore it's taking time to make sure that it's done properly.
Yeah.
But we have committed that within a few days, most of the issues we believe would have been resolved. Where it will take long, we've indicated where those areas are.
Yeah, I just want to bring up communities, because now we're focusing on holidaymakers, but people live there. Communities are angry about what they call a blatant disregard of such an important matter. I mean, they're saying that the metro is exposing them to health risks. We understand this, I mean, because I think I've been through the health risks and the type of things that people can be exposed to, severe illnesses. It's worse for children. I mean, there's also, this has been an ongoing problem in the municipality. I know that it's exacerbated by the flooding and all of the other issues that the province has been exposed to. But there's also been talk of a lot of money that has been squandered that should have been spent on upgrading these systems that have been left to be neglected and to get into the state that they're in right now. And this is not a quick fix. This is a fix. This is something that's been going on for years and years. And yet it just gets worse and worse. And it's meant to be fixed, but it's not being fixed in the severity or in the way and the urgency that people want to see. Why? Why is this not a matter of massive priority and we're seeing these things being fixed very quickly?
It's a function of two things. One is that we are a metro and we've got influx of people into the city. So there is a pressure to get new infrastructure developed. There is also pressure to maintain old infrastructure. So these two and the people moving into the city in high numbers create that competition for funding. So, but the city has made a decision really that we should up our maintenance budget up to at least 8% of the budget so that we are able to meet the demands because we've got old infrastructure underneath which requires repairs. We also have new settlements which we are trying to create. We also have business infrastructure that we need to make available so that we sustain the city. So the competition of those elements make it quite difficult to make sure that all the time we are able to maintain infrastructure. But there's commitment to say at least 8% of the budget should be on maintenance, which is a good way, a step forward to try and ensure that all the infrastructure is maintained.
I mean, there's a Green Drop report that states that municipalities must have enforceable bylaws in place which will safeguard advanced wastewater treatment technologies from the flow of harmful influent, which would pose a risk, and must ensure that compliance and monitoring data is submitted on a monthly and regularly basis to the Department of Water and Sanitation. It's written. And the municipality, do you follow this? Do you do this? I mean, this is written in black and white. It shouldn't be something you aspire to. It's something you should be doing.
Correct. That's what is expected of municipalities. It's always
It's
an
expected,
issue of
but
funding.
it's not being done. And now you're asking thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to come to you on holiday because you can't already handle the people that are there, that live there, that are the communities are complaining. And now you're asking people to come down and go into your beaches and trust you that it's fine. Do you honestly think that people deserve to trust you? Do you deserve the trust?
I think, Leanne, maybe you are giving an impression that there is no emphasis on making sure that people have sanitation infrastructure in eThekwini. We have a sanitation infrastructure in eThekwini. What has happened is unfortunate that we had infrastructure that was already under stress because of its age. And then over it, we then had the unfortunate floods that happened, which made it even worse. This does not mean that there was no investment before and that there was no maintenance before. There's always been maintenance. Obviously, the budget has not been sufficient, but there is commitment to try and move the budget up so that it's able to meet the demands of a growing city. That is another challenge. We have a growing city, but the numbers of people able to pay in terms of rates is not growing at the same level, and therefore we require a lot of national government in funding as well to meet that infrastructure demand.
Sorry, Dr. Gumede, I have to wrap it. I've already stolen 2 minutes out the news, but thank you. I also said to viewers I would get those numbers. We talk about 500 is the level that it should be at, 500 counts per 100 mil in certain areas, and that's the thing. What I'm finding, and this is a News 24 article saying E. coli levels in the Umgeni River are sitting at 24 million counts. Not 500, 24 million.
Confirm that that's not correct right now.
That's not correct.
Those are not correct. Right? I can give you the numbers. In Country Club Beach, which is closest to Umgeni, on the 8th of December, the count was 98. eThekwini Beach, which is closest to Umgeni River, was 1674 on the 7th of December. Laguna Beach, 1989 on the 7th of December. And the beach south of Umgeni, 2595. So that's not as high as the numbers you have.
All right, Doctor, thanks for talking to us. I think it's an article you can read. It came out this morning, so perhaps you can have a look at it and ask them to correct it if, in fact, the facts are not true. Thank you for your time, Dr. Gumede, having a robust conversation with us about what is going on with the water and the beaches.